So whenever you want to get started.
All right, well, we'll get rolling then. Hi, everyone, and thanks for being here today. Welcome. Um, this is, as Elisa mentioned, a workshop on internships for public health majors. I'm Tricia Taylor-Olivera, and I'm program director for the Academic Internship Program. We are part of the experiential learning team at the Teaching and Learning Commons. Which you'll find us down in Geisel Library if you're over in our neck of the woods. And what I want to spend some time going over with you all today is, first of all, to talk a little bit about what does an internship search process look like. I want to share a little bit with you also about the offerings of the Academic Internship Program and how we can support you in internships that you may be doing. And then we'll spend most of our time today looking at what are some ways to search up internships to identify those opportunities that might be of interest to you as you're moving forward in your internship process. And then with that, what are a couple of ideas for ways to get started? I know sometimes it can be this overwhelming thing to think about, how do I go about finding an internship? So we'll try and boil it down to a couple of things that you can do to begin your process. All right, so getting started, you all are here, so I assume that you find some value already or think that internship opportunities can be of value to you, but want to share with you a little bit about reasons for doing an internship. And when I'm talking about internships, I am talking about going out and engaging in a professional setting under the guidance and mentorship of professionals within that field. Okay, and typically you're involved in some pretty substantive hands-on work. So you're getting hands-on experience in a professional setting under the guidance of a professional from that field. And there are a lot of different ways that you can go about getting some experience: volunteering, jobs, etc. There can be overlap, research opportunities. There can be overlap amongst these different opportunities, but we're going to be focused today on internships. So again, why do an internship? Well, one is exploring your options. There are a lot of different ways that you can get involved in the field of public health, right? As someone coming with this major. So internships are one way to get involved in a setting, try it out, see what feels like a fit for you, see what you like, see what you don't like, see where your strengths lie, etc. So really having that chance to explore those options. And sometimes you get into a setting and you discover some role, some job title that you never knew existed before, but by virtue of being in that setting, you get exposed to some different aspects of the work. Building skills is a really critical component as well. So this includes those technical skills and technical knowledge that you need in a particular setting, but it also includes what we consider to be transferable skills or competencies, which are those skills that you take with you to any setting that you're in and that employers across the board are looking for. Every employer wants to know that you can think critically. Every employer wants to know that you can work with a team of people, that you can communicate in a professional setting, etc. So these are internships give you an opportunity to practice those skills. Or demonstrate that you've developed them already. It's also a great way for you to expand your network, meeting other professionals within your field, maybe finding a mentor, etc. Developing that professional network is really critical to you. It's a chance to take what you've learned in your class and apply it, like make this stuff come to life a little bit and see how it works in the real world while you are demonstrating interest in the field. So this is telling employers, like, I really am interested in this area. See, I've already been pursuing it. I've been doing some internships related to this type of work. And of course, building experience, which is a key reason that a lot of students are coming to an internship, because you want to have that thing to put on your resume, right? To show employers that you are building your experience in this field. And I will say that when you look at research that's done out there by organizations like the National Association of Colleges Employers, they're consistently finding that internships are among the most influential factors that employers are looking for. So that related work experience, the internship experience is what employers are looking for when they're making decisions about hiring. And particularly when you've got a couple of candidates who are close, you might be making a difficult decision, that internship might be the thing that puts you over the edge. All right, so moving on, I want to talk a little bit about Academic Internship Program. What are we and what do we have to offer? So my program offers the opportunity for you to earn course credit for an internship. So when you're going out and getting that experience, you can tie it right back with your academic program by earning credit through AIP. You can do this during the academic year. It's also available during the summer. So this, again, lets you apply what you're learning from your classes. Your department allows you to apply it toward a public health elective. So you can be getting that experience and making some progress toward your degree at the same time while you are exploring those career options. All right, so, and here's what the structure of that looks like. We have a couple of different course offerings. Generally speaking, the upper division course is the one that you're more likely to be able to apply, I think, toward a requirement. But the class that you enroll in when you're doing an internship and coming through AIP is AIP 197. It has some eligibility requirements. If you don't meet those eligibility requirements, it requires getting an exception approved by the college to participate in an internship. We have variable unit options. So you can do an internship for 2 units, 4 units, 6, 8, all the way up to 12 units. Usually students aren't doing 12 units. A standard internship is usually 4 units, like taking the place of what would be a regular class for you, okay? But there are a few unit options that are based on how many hours per week you're working at the internship site. And the way the program is structured is that in addition to doing that hands-on internship work, you are working with faculty here at UC San Diego to develop a final paper or project that really demonstrates your learning and ties it back academically. The lower division 97 course just gives an option for students who are early starters and may be at sophomore standing level to be able also to engage in an internship for academic credit. So when you've got an internship and you're ready to do AIP, this is what the process looks like. So the first thing is you secure that internship and identify faculty that you want to work with. And this is stuff that as you get to that point, you can always come back to AIP. We'll help you a little bit with thinking through how to do that. And we're going to spend some time, most of our time today, talking about the piece about how do you find and apply for and secure an internship opportunity. Once you have that internship opportunity, you go to our database at AIP. You're going to submit what we call a learning agreement. This tells us that you have an internship and gives us the details about it so we can review it and make sure it meets our guidelines for academic credit. So you can either utilize resources that AIP has. We have a database of opportunities. You can look there and find an internship and do that for academic credit. But you also can secure an internship using any of the other methods we're going to talk about today. So whether you find it through your own personal contacts, through other websites, etc., you can still come to us with that opportunity and say, here's what I've got. We look at it and say it looks like it is appropriate for academic credit and help you to move forward with that. Once the internship's approved, you're going to submit an enrollment request via the EASY system, and that's how you get enrolled in the AIP course. It's a special studies course, so you can't just go to WebReg and sign up. You need to do that learning agreement and EASY request to get enrolled in AIP. All right, so that is the process. And I will say a little bit timing wise too. We always are working, you need to be enrolled at the time you're doing the internship. You can't come to me this quarter and say, I did an internship and went in fall, can I get credit for it? Right now, we are accepting learning agreements and EASY requests for spring quarter. So we're always kind of working in that quarter ahead. You want to enroll just ahead of when you're going to be doing the internship and having your internship aligned with dates of the quarter.
Tricia, I just wanted to bring to your attention that there is a question in the Q&A. The question is, can we gain academic credit for a paid internship?
Yes, that's an excellent question. Thank you for asking it. Yes, you can earn credit for a paid internship. We love to have students doing paid internship opportunities. We're going to use the same criteria to look at that internship, whether it's a paid or an unpaid internship. So we're looking at, is it professionally supervised? Is the work you're doing substantive? Does it seem like it's got a clear learning focus to it? So the same criteria that we're applying for unpaid internships would apply also to paid internships, but you can be doing either a paid internship or an unpaid internship for academic credit. Thanks, great question. All right, so this piece, I'll ask Elisa if she has anything to chime in on with it, but your department is excellent in supporting students in being able to count those internships for academic credit by submitting a petition to count AIP 197 as an elective toward the major. Elisa, is there anything that you want to say about the process for that?
Not so much, but I do want to encourage students to check out our website. If you have any questions about what to do, the internships page on our website can be located in the Beyond the Classroom section of the site. And if you have additional questions about the process, what you're going to do is actually use the virtual advising center. And actually, I do see there is one thing, you won't email it to the public health email. That is probably information that you had from years ago, Tricia. We actually have a form submission link on our website. So it's a Google form. It's very straightforward. And that's what you will use to request your authorization or your approval towards the major. Just keep in mind that we do want to see that that internship request, for if you are going to be looking at doing an internship and you want it for your major, we would really like to see that either before you start or very early on in that quarter. In the past, sometimes we have seen students that have tried to apply for the internship to count retroactively for the major, and that's not something that we can do. So we really want to make sure that you have the approval of our office to use that internship for your major, either before you start it or right at the very beginning of when you're starting it.
Great. Thanks. Thank you for those clarifications. All right. So in addition to our AIP 197 course, I just want to make sure you all are aware that we have opportunities as well for you to go and engage in some really rather immersive internship opportunities through the UCDC program in Washington, D.C., and through the UC Center Sacramento program as well. Both of these have you taking a quarter away and going and living in either Washington, D.C. or Sacramento, engaging in an internship that is close to full-time, probably 20 to 30 hours a week usually. And there are all kinds of settings. So you certainly can be engaged in public health settings. Sometimes those are research settings, policy-oriented settings, et cetera. So, Health and Human Services, different health-oriented associations. We had a student who was with the Department of State doing an internship that had a wellness orientation to it as well. That was a public health major. So all kinds of different opportunities. I'm going to talk a little bit more too about finding government-oriented opportunities. But your internships can be in government, they can be with nonprofits, they can be with research institutes within Washington, D.C., and the Sacramento program has a very strong public policy focus as well. So for both of those, if you want to learn more, come to us. Again, they're quarter-long applications for the upcoming fall for the UCDC program will be early in spring. So we're getting ready. We're always working for these programs. We're working at least 2 quarters ahead in terms of recruiting and having applications come in so that you have plenty of time to get situated and find internships, et cetera. But really great opportunities to go live away, explore another city, and get really in-depth internship opportunities while you're at it. Okay. So now I want to talk a little bit about what's it look like to search for internships and just kind of some of the steps and stages that go along with that. So first of all, you want to think a little bit about what your goals are. What is it that you're trying to get out of this internship opportunity? So you might want to be taking a look at what are some areas of public health that I'm particularly interested in exploring, or other areas that I'm interested in exploring. Maybe that means thinking about what populations you're interested in working with. I'm interested in working with youth. I'm interested in working with the elderly. I'm interested in working with a particular cultural population. I'm interested in working with refugees. What is, are there particular populations you're working with, or topics that you're interested in working with, and epidemiology, environmental health, human resources, what is the area that you're interested in? Maybe you don't know. You don't have to have it totally nailed down. Again, exploration is one of the key reasons to do an internship, but do a little bit of thinking about what are some things that pique your interest, that you're curious about. Where might you like to start exploring, so that you have a place to start? And that doesn't mean you can't, go in a different direction if you see something else that looks interesting to you, but at least reflect a little bit on what are some of your goals, what are specific skills that you're hoping to learn, or environments that you want to get exposure to. Grab onto one of those things as sort of a starting point, right, that you can use to begin your search. Then you want to be researching opportunities, and I'm going to share some more resources with you here about how to do that. So this is where we're going to spend most of our time today, is thinking about how do you identify internship opportunities in your areas of interest. From there is preparing your application materials, and those things might be happening simultaneously, but you want to make sure you have a good, solid resume together. If you don't have one, start creating one. Make sure you get it reviewed. Use career services resources and get your resume reviewed so you can be confident that you're using solid application materials. That's sort of your foot in the door, right, when you're applying to different internship opportunities. Cover letters. Many organizations might ask you for a cover letter. And this is something that you really need to customize for each organization you're applying to. You might have some standard language that you're using. You can recycle some of the language in your cover letters, but the purpose of those really is to make a connection between you and the organization you're applying for. If I, as an employer, am reviewing a cover letter, I want to see, oh, this person is interested in working for my program. They're interested in this particular role, and they're telling me about what skills they're bringing that are relevant to what I'm doing here. Not only I'm great at all of these different skills, but I'm great at all of these different skills. Here's how I want to apply them in your setting, right? So thinking about it in that way, and that can be a sentence or two, right? What is it about that organization's mission that grabs you, or something like that? But making that clear connection is really a key piece too. So, think about getting those materials together will be a step. You're going to be sending out those application materials, interviewing. Again, I really encourage students to take advantage of the resources of the Career Center. There's a lot of stuff that they have online. There are resources like Big Interview that is a great resource for you to dig into and see some practice interview tips, and you record yourself mock interviewing, things like that, as well as a number of workshops that they offer, things along those lines. So do take advantage of those resources that are available to you. And then eventually you're going to want to accept an opportunity. And this is where you're going to kind of cycle back to that first step, right? What were your goals? And does the opportunity that you're looking at look like it meets those goals? If having a good mentor is important to you, have you asked questions to get a sense of, how you'll be interacting with folks at the internship site, right? To be able to know that. What kinds of projects might you have the opportunity to look at? So when you're accepting an opportunity, you can think back to what your goals are and how those things are a fit when you're making a decision about whether to accept an opportunity. Okay. So now we're going to dig in a little bit here. So I want to start off by saying, when you're looking for opportunities, don't forget that people are one of your most important assets, right? I'm calling this your circle of support. It's also called networking. But I know that sometimes the word networking comes with a sense of for some people, maybe feeling like you're using people, or only reaching out to a bunch of strangers you don't know and it's awkward, that kind of a thing. But really, your network is your circle of support. These are, who are the people that you're in contact with, that you're connecting with in different ways, who are the faculty who are teaching your courses or you're interacting with, staff like myself, like your advisors here, others around campus who are here to support you, your friends, your family, your peers. If someone you're aware of is doing an internship that you're interested in, ask them about it. Ask them about it. Ask them how they got it. Ask them if they're able to get you connected with somebody else in that setting, right? And also, not every internship opportunity or job opportunity is on a job board. Sometimes people learn about opportunities because they talk to somebody, and that's how you're going to find out. Or even if it is posted, you never would have known about it if Elisa didn't mention it to you, right? Or your roommate didn't know about it, or whatever the case may be. So the words that I put down here below are connect, communicate, and be curious, right? So connect with people in general, right? You already have a network of folks. You can continue to expand that network. Alumni is one area where you might not already have connections, but there's an affinity. And there are resources like the Triton's Connect resource on campus through Career Center that gives you a database of alumni that you can connect with. You can use LinkedIn to find alumni and get connected to them. And these are often folks who share some experiences with you. They're interested in helping other students who come from a background similar to their own. And, they're interested in hearing about the latest construction on campus while you're interested in learning about what's happening at their company, right? So there is a little bit of give and take and some affinity there. So think about how you can connect with different folks, communicate what maybe some of your goals are, what you're looking for, so that folks know they can keep an eye out for you. If I don't know that you're looking for opportunities, then I might not mention to you that I saw something that aligns with your interests. But if I know that you are, I'm going to be like, oh, this made me think of you. You might want to check it out. All right, so communicating your interests and goals. And curiosity goes a long way in building relationships. Be curious about what people do. Ask them about their work. People like to talk about themselves. A lot of people like to talk about themselves. If you go to an alum and you're asking them, oh, I'm so interested in, the work that you're doing. Could I learn a little bit more about what your career path was like? They might be really happy to share that information for you, or I'm interested in the advice that you have to offer, or I read X, Y, and Z about the research that you're doing. Can you tell me more about that? Or how can one get involved with that if you're talking about faculty? Right. So being curious, asking questions is a really good way to continue to build relationships and also identify opportunities. And then there are campus resources as well. And many of the ones that are listed here are some of our online resources. Through AIP, we have a database called InternLink that you can access. This is where you can go there both to search for internship opportunities. And also, once you have an internship opportunity, this is where you'll go to fill out that learning agreement form that we talked about, right? That says, Tricia, I've got an internship. Here's what it is. Can I get credit for it? Right. So it's a good resource for you to be aware of. I also want to share this real portal. Let me see. I'm going to go click onto this. This is a resource here at UC San Diego where you can search up. Oh, I thought I was already in it. Here it is. Where you can search up different opportunities. Can you see it there? Okay. Where you can search different opportunities, internships, as well as research opportunities, etc. And actually the folks from public health and some of the med school are some of the better ones at putting opportunities in here. So these are folks who have said we're looking for students to engage in different opportunities. And the way I got here, it's real.ucsd.edu. You log in, you go to opportunities. First of all, you can create your profile so that people can find you in here. You can go to the opportunities and you can look here at this opportunity and see how to apply for it. Okay, you won't see the edit opportunity. That's because I'm an administrator, but you can apply for opportunities using this resource. So that is one option. Okay. Handshake, I can't log into that for you. This is career services or the Career Center's database, where you can find internship opportunities, job opportunities. It's also where you will find events posted, career fair information, employer visits. Keep in mind that sometimes there are career fairs that are for specific areas. So you might find one that's focused on health and sciences or something more specific to you, in addition to the really large career fairs that are for everybody. These are good. And so you'll find some good networking events through Career Center, right? Through those job fairs, through info sessions that employers put on, etc. Your academic department. So I'm gonna, in case you haven't, I hope you've already seen this, but in case you haven't, your department has done a really excellent job of curating a whole lot of resources for you about careers and opportunities. I recommend really looking closely at this. It gives you an easy in to a lot of different opportunities. And when you're exploring this, so I'm going to talk more about researching opportunities. But one of the things that I wanted to show you, like here, you have areas to explore in public health. So when you're searching for internship opportunities, job opportunities, a lot of times you're using different keywords, right? Where do you begin? Well, here are some keywords, right, that you can think about in terms of for public health generally. And then if you drill down into some of the different areas that are focused on here, you've got possible job titles, examples of types of employers. These are all clues for you for where you can go to do some additional research, right? When you're searching up, so if I'm gonna Google it, or I'm gonna go to Indeed and search for an opportunity, maybe I'll try community health worker as a keyword search, right? And see what comes up, or health educator, or right, and see what comes up, and that can help you with your process of identifying different opportunities. Okay, so I'm gonna go over that, but really do, if you haven't already, explore those opportunities, and it's there for you. You can, if you feel like doing it in the middle of the night when advisors aren't available to chat with you, that's a good time to use those resources, although we hope that you also are sleeping. And another thing here, I just have created this resource for you. These are experiential learning resources on campus. So it includes internships. It also includes things that are not internships, like study abroad, etc. Oh, never mind. It's not going to show it to you. If you go to that link, it should take you to a just a handout that I've created that links you to directly to a whole bunch of resources around campus. So you can use it to go to UCDC, go to AIP, go to Undergrad Research Hub, etc. So that's just one more resource for you. And remember that there are a lot of campus-based opportunities. So, one of the big places that public health folks in public health can work are in educational settings, like in higher educational settings and research. And, we're a research university. So there are a lot of ways to plug into research opportunities, to, community-based outreach that might be happening through UC San Diego Health, etc. So, bear in mind that there are opportunities here, like there's, the Center for Community Health here on campus, or there's something called the was it the Blum Summer Field Internship, which is really more focused on climate change and environment, but there are certainly overlaps with public health there if that's an area of focus for you. So you can, with public health too, you can really cross a lot of disciplines. You might find things that are interesting to you happening within urban studies and planning. You might find things that are interesting happening within SIO, if you know, that are related to climate change, etc. The med school, there are a lot of different places to plug in, so just keep options open that way. All right, so some of the online resources that you can use. You can use, you know, general job boards like Indeed or Google Jobs. Dig around in the jobs in LinkedIn. I really like to use LinkedIn as a tool for doing more research on companies and or seeing what career paths look like. So if I go to an organization that's of interest to me and I click on people, let me see if I can get in here and do this. There we go. Bear with me for a sec. Okay, so here's my LinkedIn. So, well, let me show you one thing you can do, which is you can find alumni. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to UC San Diego here. And I'm going to click on schools. And then go back to UC San Diego, because when I look at it from that perspective, see this little spot here where it says alumni, right? You can click on that. And it's going to pull up UC San Diego alumni. And now I'm going to use some keyword searches, and maybe you try some other keywords too, but I'm just going to do public health. This could return any number of things. It might be people who had that as a major. It might be someone who has that in their title, or at some point worked in an organization that had those words appearing in there. But see, I did that, and now I can find folks here, public health education specialist, professionals. Some of you might be in here, right? You know, you can find alumni this way. And if you wanted to ask to connect, you can do that. If you're going to ask to connect with alumni who are doing something of interest to you, I'm going to suggest that you include a message instead of just clicking. If they have no connection to you, then take a moment to write a note that says, you know, hi, my name is such and such. I'm a student at UC San Diego in public health. I see that you also were a public health major at UCSD, and I'd love to connect with you, right? Just it will make some sort of, like, for me, if I get a random connection and I can't place where they're from, I probably will ignore it. Whereas if I'm like, oh, that was a past student, oh, they're in some other network that I'm a part of, that I'm gonna accept that connection, right? So some people accept all connections, but some people like me don't, right? So this is a good way to find that. You can search for jobs in LinkedIn as well. But one of the things I was going to show you too, let's see, is, let me see, can I go to my own profile? I want to show you what it looks like to look at someone's profile, but let's see, we'll do my own. So if you were to find me on LinkedIn and you're looking at my profile, you can see, like, oh, okay, Tricia works at Academic Internship Program. How does one get into like that sort of field? I'm interested in a job in higher education. What did she do? Oh, okay, so she's been at this program. Oh, she also worked at this organization. I'd be interested to find out more about Center for Creative Leadership too. Let me go research that organization now, right? So you can see what career pathways have been. oh, I see that, there's a mass, what was that program? Maybe that's a program I want to research, right? So you can see what career pathways are for folks by looking through this too. So if you go to an organization you're interested in and then look at people, you can look at career pathways. So recon, it's a good recon tool, right, to use LinkedIn. So that's just a little bit about LinkedIn. If you don't have a profile, go ahead and get one started. Even if you don't have a ton of experience to put in there yet, you can start building it, right? And start building up your connections a little bit that way. All right, so close out of there. All right, so that's LinkedIn. Also, for every field, there are professional associations or job boards that are very specific to your field. So I've listed here a few that you can go and explore to search for internships and job opportunities. Okay, so, and I have up here at the very top, searching organization and company websites. So if you are aware of an organization of interest to you, go directly to their website and search, or you might have to do a little digging to find where that information about jobs is or internships is on their website. It might be under jobs, it might be under careers, it might be under get involved, it might be under about us, or any number of different areas, or they might not post internships on their website. But if there's an organization that you're interested in, study them a little bit, do a little digging around on their website so you have some sense of what they do, then you can reach out directly. And I gave a link here to an example of what it might look like to reach out to. This is an article from the Muse that gives just sort of some examples of how do you write an email asking about an internship if there's nothing posted, but it's an organization you're interested in. How do you do that, right? Do your research, find somebody to connect with. Maybe you're doing that via LinkedIn. Maybe it's on their website. Introducing yourself. And on this, there's a little bit of a, template, right? Some ideas of how do you approach a message like this if you want to just reach out directly to an organization. If you know someone there or can connect to someone there through something like alumni, or someone that knows that you're a faculty contact, a peer that's been there, that sort of a thing, that always makes for a warmer connection. But sometimes we just don't have that, and it is a cold outreach, but this gives you a little bit of advice on how to do that. Okay, but you do go look directly at organizations for what they have available. And if you find an organization or a job type on some of these databases, but it's not an internship, you found a job, but it's a director of such and such, you're like, well, I'm not really applying for that director position, but the organization's interesting, go look at the organization and dig through their site to see what you find there, right? So even if the internship that you're interested in doesn't pop up in front of your face, you can do a little bit of more digging to find that information. Okay. Moving on, I want to mention too, there are a lot of public health jobs that are connected to the government, right? County public health roles, state public health roles, and within the federal government, there's Health and Human Services, the CDC, the National Institutes of Health, and then other places that you might not think of, Department of Agriculture, Department of the Interior, where there might be things related to like Native American health or something might fall under Department of Interior. So there are all kinds of opportunities. They are in DC and they are all over the place as well. When you're talking about federal opportunities, they can be based in DC, but there are federal roles throughout the country. My dad worked for the federal government in Los Angeles for most of his career, right? So, and in other places around the country. So there are lots of different opportunities, and I'm going to share this with you. So USA Jobs is the job posting board for a lot of federal jobs. Not 100% of things are going to be found there, right? You really have to take a multi-pronged approach with some of these different types of resources that I'm sharing with you. You know, maybe they're posting something in Handshake, maybe they're just putting it on their website, right? But USA Jobs is a job posting board. It's a bit of a behemoth. It's not the most user-friendly, but you can dig around in there and look for opportunities. But there is an organization called the Partnership for Public Service that has created this resource that is really geared towards students, called the Federal Internship Finder. So I would encourage you to take a look at this resource, because you can sort of plan, explore, see what's out there, and they've really tried to gather resources and point you in the direction of links. So this is not a job posting board, but it will tell you about different programs, different entities within the federal government where you might find opportunities. So let's look here, career field. There is one, is medical and public health. So let's look at that. And you are undergraduate students, right? So I want to find out about medical and public health opportunities for undergraduate students. And, you know, then I can find all of these different programs. And you can use other filters if you want to filter out things that are or are not maybe relevant to you. Some of these are very specific to public health. Some of them are like the Pathways program is a program that is across different fields, right? So some will be in different sectors. But as I mentioned, it's important to realize that while there are certainly a lot of opportunities that might fall under a department of, of Health and Human Services, there are public health roles that could fall in any number of different areas as well. So something like this lets you find some, so you can search by agency, but if you only search Health and Human Services, you might miss out on something that's offered through Department of the Interior, right? Or through Department of Agriculture. Okay, so that is one resource. And similarly, you can search through opportunities at the state level. A lot of those are in Sacramento, but some are around the state. You can see down here, if you go search that website, there's a section for students and seasonal work that you can take a look at. And locally, the county is the main government setting where, students will get connected to opportunities. If you're applying for government internships or jobs, etc., plan for it to take a while. These tend, in many cases, and it may be different, again, like if you have a personal connection, you're connecting through a particular program that your faculty is aware of, or something along those lines, that's one thing. But if you are just sort of sending a resume through a system to the county to say, I'm interested in internships, these can be slow moving machines. You probably aren't going to apply today and expect that in a couple of weeks you might have an internship lined up. It's probably more like a few months. So you want to leave yourself plenty of lead time with these kinds of opportunities. All right, oops, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Okay, let me go back here. I just want to make note also of some other settings where you will find opportunities. We talked about on campus, we talked about government settings, nonprofit settings. You can find all kinds of internship opportunities. Organizations that are doing research, whether that's locally or in places like Washington, D.C., think tanks are doing often research. Maybe it's related to policy. NIH, would be a place that's doing research. You could be working on policy or advocacy. That might be through a nonprofit organization. It also could be working with a congressperson who's interested in forwarding a health-oriented policy, right? Community services. So nutrition and food insecurity, right? So thinking about food banks, that's a type of nonprofit organization where you might find internships related to public health, Feeding America, things like those kinds of organizations might be one. Community health clinics, associations, organizations like American Heart Association, American Lung Association, Alzheimer's Association, American, associations for mental health. All of these are places that you might find internship opportunities. So, you can think about, we often think about like the hands-on medical types of settings, but a lot of these organizations that are working to promote policy and education around health-oriented topics are also really good places to look for internships. Think about things sometimes, schools or other youth serving organizations might help a health-oriented health or well-being or wellness element to the work that they're doing. Refugee serving organizations like the International Rescue Committee, and locally there's also Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services also do refugee resettlement, and health is a big component of work that they're doing as well. So there are those and then foundations that raise money or are working to build coalitions around health topics are also places that you can look. Okay, so lots of different things there. And if you're interested in the private setting, hospitals, insurance companies, private healthcare companies are places. Environmental health and safety is a whole field within the corporate environment that you can look at. And you can look at the pharmaceutical industry, or maybe you're interested in media. I have, a student who's working on, a documentary related to health-oriented topics, right? So depending on where your various interests and strengths and skills sort of overlap, you can find lots of different opportunities. So with these, you would use some of those resources and strategies that we talked about before in terms of using keyword searches, looking at job boards, researching specific companies to look at these different types of opportunities. All right. So with that, a little bit of advice, as I was already talking about, try a variety of different keywords when you're searching. Sometimes you try something and it comes up a little flat. Just try a different word. Use those keywords that are on your department's website as a starting point. If you're not sure where to start, look at an area there that is of interest to you. Think back to that first piece that I mentioned, where you're reflecting on your goals, who you want to work with, kinds of settings you want to work with, topics that are of interest to you, and try doing a little bit of search of those when you are in either a general search engine or a particular job board, whether that's AIP's Interlink database or Handshake, or whether it is something like one of those government sites or Indeed or something along those lines. Okay, so use different keywords. You have to have some patience and persistence in looking for opportunities. It's not, sometimes the perfect thing is going to pop right to the top, but sometimes the algorithm isn't as smart as we'd like it to be, right? And it doesn't give you exactly what you want right in front of your face, and you just have to dig, and you have to say, oh, well, here's a posting, but that's not at all at the level that I'm able to work at. Okay, but what's that organization about? Let's go look at that organization and see what else they have, right? Do a little bit of that digging, go down the rabbit hole a little bit once in a while and see what other resources you can find based on what's coming up. Again, as I already mentioned, go to the source, go to the website of the organization that you're interested in to look for opportunities, or to reach out to them and talk with folks in your network if they know someone at an organization or in a field that's of interest to you, and utilize those connections too. It's always good to ask the question, if you're talking to somebody about their work and what they did, a good question if you're doing what we'd call an informational interview, which is talking to somebody about their career path or the field that they're working in. If you're having that kind of a conversation with somebody, you can always wrap it up with, anyone else you think I should talk to? right? Let's further expand that network. Okay. Again, exploring organizations of interest, even if that internship doesn't pop right up. You can watch the news. I mean, even news that might be popping up on, websites that you're looking at. Let me see if I can find an example here.
Tricia, just so that you know, we have about 10 more minutes, and
Okay.
we do have one question in the Q&A. And students, if you have additional questions, please feel free to
Yeah,
put them
great. And
in the
I'm
Q&A.
close to the end, so
Just wanted to give
great.
you a heads up.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it. But if you pay attention to what's in the news, whether that's on a website of an organization you're looking at, or something you've read about, something you heard, what was on a podcast, what are the organizations they're talking about, right? Like I looked at a website for Live Well. This is an organization you might want to check out too, Live Well San Diego, which is linked they do a lot of work with the county too. And on their news, it has, maybe they're congratulating people on different projects that they're working on. But I looked at that, I'm like, oh, I just saw 10 different organization names listed that are being highlighted for the work that they're doing, or the partnerships that they're building or whatever. Now I can, if what I'm reading about looks interesting to me, I can now go to that organization, learn a little bit more about it, see if they have internships, or if they don't, and I'm writing a letter to them, I'm like, oh, I see you're doing really exciting work in XYZ. Here's how I feel like I can contribute to that work, right? So paying attention to what's going on out there through the news is useful too. All right, I think I already talked about connecting with people.
So we do have a couple of questions in
Let's
the Q&A.
hear them.
And one of them has been sitting there for a while. I think it's a little bit more complicated than the other one, so I'm going to start with the other one. But I promise, if you're the anonymous participant who sent the first question, I promise I'm not ignoring you. So the second question is if there is a minimum level of student, so sophomore, junior, senior, etc., that students need to be to apply to the UCDC program.
For UCDC, it is junior standing is what you would need to have, at least at the time you're going. Sometimes we'll have students apply and you're like a couple units shy, but by the end of this quarter in which you're applying, you're going to be at that. We'll consider that. But it's 90 units, which is junior standing for the UCDC program.
Perfect. I figured that was an easy one.
Yeah.
So the second question is about graduating students. So I'm assuming that this particular student meant that they are getting ready to graduate and they want to do the internship prior to graduation. If that is not the case, please, if this was your question, please clarify for us. But the student asks, are internships, whether AIP or other opportunities, more limited for students who are graduating?
I think that depends. I mean, if you mean post-graduation, then, there are a number of internship programs that are intended to be for students who are current students. There are some programs that do work with students who are, just graduated, immediately, and that will take students in that situation. So, I mean, it really can depend on a particular organization. In terms of doing AIP, you can do AIP for spring quarter. If you secure an internship for spring, once you're graduated, you would not be doing an internship for academic credit, but you probably don't need the credit if you've already graduated anyway, right? And so with that, it's really going to depend on an organization. Which ones are going to take students who have graduated. As far as like some research, especially like research opportunities, they might want someone to be able to continue longer than one quarter. So some internships will be, it's for this 10-week quarter, that's fine. We can do it for just that. There are some settings where it's going to be that they're looking for a longer term time frame than that. But you also can look at fellowship opportunities as well. There are things that are more geared toward graduates as well. So, and like if you're looking at interested in federal opportunities, take a look at that site that I was mentioning and sort of change the settings so that you're looking at what are entry level or recent grad types of opportunities to search for some of those.
And remember, for students, this is obviously not for you, Tricia, but for students, remember that there are lots of ways to get academic credit for certain opportunities. So Tricia has mentioned a couple of times that you can do a research internship and get AIP 197 credit, but you could also, for many of the opportunities, you could also get FMPH, or in whatever other department is most appropriate, for the faculty member, you could get 199 credit or 198 credit for many of the same job duties. So really, if you have a situation in which you are looking at doing research, many times you could choose one or the other opportunity. And so you really want to have a conversation both with your faculty mentor in the research lab and with us as the advising team about what is going to work best for you, for your plans, etc. So if you are looking at doing research internships, maybe there might be a situation in which it makes more sense for you to do one versus the other. I have definitely seen research internships that turn into full or part-time jobs, or that then involve additional volunteering, etc. So you definitely want to ensure that you are kind of exploring all of your opportunities when you're looking at these opportunities, 198s, 199s, 197s, et cetera.
Yeah. Along a similar line, I just popped up another slide that says, sometimes there's overlap between what these opportunities either are called, what they do, right? So, and some things will or won't qualify for academic credit or what we define as an academic internship. But when you're searching for opportunities, things might show up. You might be like, there's no internships. Well, they call everything a volunteer in that organization, right? And there can be differences between volunteering. If you're volunteering, if you're shadowing, or if you're volunteering to deliver for Meals on Wheels or something, I wouldn't consider that can be a great opportunity and a good way to connect with an organization. I wouldn't necessarily count it as academic credit, but there are a number of organizations where they have students who are doing research for them, who are doing community outreach or working with them on heavy duty projects, and they call it a volunteer, but I'm like, I count that as an internship, right? So if you're in a nonprofit, they might just call it a volunteer organization. If you're in a paid role that is in a government setting, they might call it a student worker or a trainee, right? You might be in something that's a fellowship if it's a paid opportunity, that's a research oriented opportunity or something along those lines. Sometimes things are called externships, and you also can look for part-time and or temporary jobs. Some of those can qualify as internships if they have a learning orientation, clear, supervision, mentorship, etc. Others don't, but you can consider looking for these different types of opportunities.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Tricia. Oh, looks like you've got one more slide.
All right, one more.
Thank you.
Yep. So I just want to let you know, one, you don't have to have 100% of qualifications to apply. So I want to convey that to students, because I know it can be something that you get hung up on, but look at what preparation you have, be ready to tell your story of how you're ready for an internship, and go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate all of your experience and your guidance for our students. And if our students would like to talk with somebody in your office, where can they go?
Oh, they can go right here. Connect. Oh, here you go. They can connect with AIP on our Instagram, our website. The Virtual Advising Center is a great way to do some initial contact with us. And then if you would need to set up an appointment with us, you can reach out to us via the back and request that as well.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much for being here for our students. And I hope that we have students that will come and reach out to AIP and get some internships going.
Wonderful. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
having me.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Okay.